there's a story that will actually answer that. Very early in my development, probably around the 3.5 to 4 year mark, I had used a lot of the material you had taught me, and I actually got a girl to come over to my place who had never seen me before, using internet dating, but still using your skills over the net. She, at one point, we watched a movie. I still wasn't really making the first moves. At one point, she says, I'm going to get up and leave. I simply talked to her, and within 20 minutes from that point, she was lying down on my sofa, naked, ready for me. I was so in shock that I could actually be with a woman on the first date, someone who hardly knew me and still wanted to be with me. And this was when I was morbidly obese. I'm a big guy now, but this was when I was morbidly obese. I couldn't even perform. That's how shocked I was that it was actually working for me.
That usually happens. See, and this puts to the lie, some of my people who try to criticize me say, well, it only works because it's placebo. Guys believe it's going to work, so it does. And I'm very quick to counter and say, no. They don't believe it's going to work, and it does. In fact, they so don't believe it that even when it's working, they can't believe it to the point where they can't perform. That's exactly the case, and I'm willing to bet that after she went home, you probably experienced a sense of unreality. Like, I can't believe that really just happened. Did that occur for you?
That lasted for a couple of days. It just changed the entire way that I filtered the world.
Yeah. For a couple of days, did it feel like, wow, did that really happen? Did you have a sense of reality breaking loose?
Absolutely.
That's what happened the first time it worked for me back in 1988 when I ended a very long dry spell on my boss's desk with someone who came in to interview for a job. I couldn't believe it. I was like in a stupor for 2 or 3 days. Like, wait, it was like being in the twilight zone in between realities. Do you remember what patterns you used on her before she was about to leave? She was about to leave. What did you do with her?
I honestly, I don't. It's quite a blur to me. What I do remember saying is, well, you could leave if you want to, however, and then I just started making her feel comfortable. I wasn't trying to game her. I wasn't trying to do anything underhanded. I was just trying to make her feel comfortable, and we just started with a massage, and it just went from there. Ross?
The old massage trick, Siegfried, works every time.
Ross, I'm getting the signal here. We got to go to commercial. Let's go to commercial.
Frank Talks is sponsored in part by the Adult Male Virgin Seminars and Telephone Consultations. If you are an adult and want to get a handle on this once and for all, you need this seminar. Being an adult male virgin can be most stigmatizing in today's society. You feel like a failure in the eyes of the mass culture around you, alienated from your male friends who all talk about their sexual conquests, and you must hide this shameful secret lest they use it against you. And the very personal pain, anguish, and despair that cannot be described by words that haunts you every moment of your life. Enough is enough. It is time for male virgins to take charge of their sex lives. Frank gives you the rules of winning in this seminar. The Adult Male Virgin Seminars and Telephone Consultations. Make your first time the best time of her life. Only available at franktalks.com. Frank helps adult boys turn into men. Frank Talks is sponsored in part by Everything Out of Her Mouth is a Test, a man's guide to the emotional needs of women. What would your life be like if you knew exactly what to say and do with women? Learn how to handle women's tests by addressing her emotional needs. By this, you create the type of attraction that will make her see you as the one. This book is a guide for men to understand exactly what a woman means when she speaks. Is that worth changing your life forever? Buy this book at franktalks.com now.
You want to learn new things? Want to meet new people? Want to discover real possibilities? Listen to Frank Talks, Pleasures and Lifestyles in Making the World a Better Place. Be sure to visit our website at www.franktalks.com for the most up-to-date information and the latest downloads of programs just like the one you are listening to now.
And we're back here on Frank Talks, Pleasures and Lifestyles. And I'm Frank because I have to be, with Ross Jeffries. Are you there, Ross?
I am.
All right. I wanted to bring up a topic, the idea of the natural. one of the issues with a lot of the seduction instructors out there is that a lot of them don't necessarily come from a place of pain. Some of them were always naturally good with women, and they decide that they're going to become instructors in this, but can they really connect to people who come from a place of pain? Can they relate to it? As someone who, like yourself, came from a place of pain, are you still able to relate to people who are in a place of pain now?
Of course I am, because I lived it for a countless number of years, and there was no one to help me. I had to dig my own way out. Granted, NLP provided tools, but they were not aimed at seduction. I had to figure out how to adopt them to seduction. Frank, I don't see how these guys could possibly understand the reality of the guy who's not particularly... Certainly they couldn't understand your reality when you were morbidly obese. These are guys... I know one of these guys, his name starts with B. This guy's basic technique is he's so good looking, he walks into a place, women throw themselves at him. As long as he doesn't do anything stupid to screw it up, he's in. Okay? And if he knows how to handle any last-minute resistance, he's in. He doesn't have to do anything beyond that. It's not a reality that most guys share. So I certainly understand those people. I'm far from an asshole. Oh.
We got a call. Let's say we go to that call. Okay, Ross? You're on the air at Frank Talks. What's your name and what's your question?
Brian is my name.
Hi, Brian. And what's your question for Ross, please?
Well, my question is, for Ross Jeffries, is the best way for something not to come off canned, like what you can do, his tactics, so when he presents like a line or whatever, it doesn't come off canned. You understand?
Did you, Ross, did you hear the question?
I heard that question, how can you avoid being canned? To answer this guy's question, as far as avoiding being canned, there's a couple different approaches. I think oftentimes people sound canned because they don't have any real experience themselves of what they're describing. If you don't know what it feels like to be moved by a beautiful sunset, then it's pointless trying to describe it to somebody else. So first and foremost, you need to broaden the range of experiences emotionally that you actually have. That's one of the great things about speed seduction. It actually encourages and structures guys to improve their emotional range, so they really do become more emotionally well-rounded and facile, to use a word that most people know, emotionally agile. All right. The second thing that I would say is adopt these things to your own personality. If you don't want to use the Discovery Channel pattern because you don't like roller coasters or whatever, come up with an adaptation. If you understand how the patterns work and what they're designed to do, then you can come up with your own variations. And in any case, the patterns are only meant to be examples. They're training wheels. To be sure, they can work. I know that, Frank, you probably had the experience of doing the pattern word for word and were shocked that it worked. I'm really shocked because as a guide, you would think, there's no way I would want to be talked to like this.
I have to agree. Yes, that's true. When I first started.
Yeah, so that's my other answer. And finally, a lot of speed seduction has evolved away from doing too much of the talking and asking questions instead and shaping her responses, so she's doing most of the seducing.
Can I ask another question about that?
Yes.
Like when you first go up, I mean, she doesn't have much invested in it. So when you're asking, I don't understand because like I've been told a lot. When you're asking questions, I mean, why is she even at first going to want to answer them?
I start by doing something else. Usually, I'll start by saying something funny. Today, I met a girl in line at I don't know if you have Starbucks there in where you live, but I was in line at Starbucks, and this girl was she was a musician, and she was dressed with a sense of style. And all I said was, I looked at her, I said, I admire people with a great sense of style. And she laughed. She said, well, thank you. And now, I didn't actually say to her, hey, I think you have a sense of style. I applied it. I said, I admire people with a sense of style, implying that she must be that because I'm talking to her, right? And then we just started talking from there. So I wouldn't start out by asking some kind of seduction question. I'd probably start out by making them laugh or commenting on something in the environment and making them laugh, but then I'd bring up the question. You understand?
Mm-hmm. I'm a fan of you. You had me cracking up in one of your seminars I got. When you're talking about how to get free food in one of your seminars. I don't know if you remember.
Where are you calling from, Brian?
From Los Angeles.
Los Angeles. Great. All right, let's see if we have another caller on the line. Brian, thank you very much for calling. We really appreciate it.